So what are you reading right now, or what are you listening to?
Oh, Good Economics for Bad Times, I think. Let me just double check the title here. Good Economics for Hard Times by Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, talking about winners of the 2019 Nobel Prize in Economics. So far, like it's longer and it's a little thicker, but denser maybe. Um, a lot about attitudes around immigration and how, for especially like Western countries where the standard of living rises so much that people don't want to have kids anymore or don't have kids anymore. If you've got a declining population, that's creating an exceptionally difficult tax burden on the younger generation. And this is, things like Japan has gone through um, with decades of stagflation, but they've got such a homogenous culture versus like the West, where, well, until recently, we've been reasonably accepting of immigrants. So, like, how do people's attitudes around immigration impact the politicians' ability to do immigration when immigration is needed for the financial system or the economics of it all? So, but kind of big trends, but I haven't gotten to the end of it yet, so I don't know what the real answer is.
Okay, and what have you read it otherwise that's interesting? Do you have anything top of mind, or what have you been listening to that's not Bitcoin or
It's all
related?
it's all Bitcoin, baby. Yeah, no, I just think like if people have listened this far, they've obviously got an interest. So they may, if they need more resources related to Bitcoin or digital currency, they should look up Laura Shin, who has two great podcasts, Unconfirmed and Unchained, and then Peter McCormick's show, What Bitcoin Did. And again, these are folks that are mostly level-headed and they're kind of anti-hype, but they've been in the industry long enough that they understand what the difference is between something real and that something imagined. Um, Beyond that, Rule Breaker Investing, which is from the Motley Fool Company, and yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot of podcasts on my list, but there's just only so many hours in the day to consume it all. So it sort of ebbs and flows. Sometimes I'm listening to some stuff, and other times it's just back to the tried and true favorites.
Well, that's good.
Hmm.
Good,
What about you?
great. I'm listening to my colleague got me into this Naval.
Yeah, Naval Ravikant.
Yeah. So I'm just like trying to consume as much of that. And then I listen to a lot of On Purpose with Jay Shetty, Impact Theory, or The Tim Ferriss Show is a good classic.
I've been hearing good things about impact theory, but I haven't checked it out.
Hmm. Yeah, I really like it. Some good stuff
Hmm.
out there. So yeah.
Wicked.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Do you have anything else for all of the not nerds out there that are trying to become a little nerdier, other than listening
Mm.
to these podcasts, Laura Shin and
Peter McCormick.
Peter
What?
McCormick?
Yeah, what Bitcoin did. He's
Okay.
Neither of them are technical, so they're not like these shows are not focused on developers, let's say. It's more general news with the big names in crypto.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a low barrier of entry for common folk like myself.
Yeah, if I don't know how you'd like if you didn't start listening today, if you went back through the catalog where you should start. But if you see any names that you recognize from any crossover, like start there and go on. But yeah, there's others that I don't know. I think if you're already interested in Bitcoin, you've probably found some of these because there's only so much. Oh, and the last one would be Andreas Antonopoulos. He does a
Mhm.
good job of explaining a lot of topics on YouTube in a way that's relatable to other ideas around society and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, great. That will give me some direction. I don't know what I'm going to do with this recording if we do anything with it, but I'm sure someone will see a snip of it at some point, whether we do the whole thing or not. So don't worry.
Yeah, there's some good stuff, I hope. Like one clip about car marketplaces that you could use that
Well,
doesn't
I think that it's
doesn't
even
throw
good
your
just for
employer under the bus.
um who trader?
What?
What employer? What do you
Accu-trade.
mean? What
Well,
about
like
it?
I don't know, like I'm being disparaging of marketplaces.
I'm not a marketplace.
Yeah, I know, but like big tech providers or like associated marketplaces with your or the people reselling data, market data. We're trying to remove the ability from your company to have marketplace data.
I know that's why I'm interested in learning more about it so that I can be on the other side and
There you
win,
go.
not on this side. I know what's happening.
Yeah. No, it's true. If all vehicle price transaction, if all transaction data related to vehicle price was hidden, like was between the buyer and the seller, how would that change your business today?
Yeah, I
So
think it's fascinating. I think that it's. I mean, for us, it's really interesting on the wholesale side of things because Bob does have critical mass, and so it's interesting from a technology perspective to think about how this kind of technology could be implemented at a larger level with where you don't need to give a fuck about Manheim, a death that you block trade route or anything because you have critical mass, you have the following, and then you just. So anyway, it'll be would be interesting to see who has the kind of money to put something like that together. But I'm glad that we had this conversation because although I have a vision for people being able to transact that way, it's obvious that there's still a lot of barriers in the way. Not that I think that all the technology is there to like plug and play, but it's that people don't understand it. And like I said, like I feel like I have this need to understand the technology, but do you really? And I don't think that you do.
yeah, and it doesn't discount the idea that people are willing to check a box that says, I agree to share all my data with you. So if you can build the private technology, but that then uses the data to provide additional benefit to the consumer, there's like a back door into viewing the transaction data. So it's, we're a long way away from it really interrupting your day, I would say.
What do you mean?
Well, if this technology was live tomorrow with critical mass, a lot of folks in the auto industry would have a hard day ahead. But we're nowhere
Yeah,
close. We're nowhere close.
yeah, agree, agree. But every day, I mean, the more information that we can gather about it, like we're just putting one foot in front of the other by having these conversations and trying to um like make it more real, I guess, in my head, like more tangible, more understood so that it is something that you can better understand how to apply it in these different use cases,
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah.
or different environments.
If you want to understand more about the challenges for folks in like the entrenched world, a good book is The Innovator's Dilemma. Uh,
Mm,
I think I
that's
referenced
been
that.
recommended. Yeah.
Yeah, Clayton Christensen. He passed away recently. Um, but an interesting book about basically why large organizations never see it coming. Can't see it coming, even if they saw it coming, couldn't do anything about it. These sort of like disruptive trends. They just you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Even if you try, you won't invest enough. Your customers won't understand it. They won't want to do it the new way. Even if you put it at like an arm's length and you start a whole new company and you fund it, like you won't get it the same way the disruptors get it. But Yeah.
Okay, and do you think that the idea of these, let's say, a decentralized marketplace is an evolution or a revolution?
I don't know. If they could replicate every other function well and just have privacy, it just seems like an evolution. But the privacy part, after 30 years nearly of the data being as of the data being the product, it's going to kind of be a revolution. Depends on what business you're in, I guess. If you're in a business of data, the auto data, Chrome, Carfax type of folks, Galvas maybe, I don't know. It could seem revolutionary, but if you're in the marketplace business and it's just private, then kind of seems normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Chrome, you can enable a private tab in Chrome. Like, will AutoTrader have a switch where you just click it at the top of the browser and then it's like, we're not gonna serve you ads based on your browsing habits? Can they replicate the feel of privacy, whether it's real or not, to satisfy the consumer? Those could be evolutionary steps. The ones that wipe out the existing marketplaces and data providers, that would be revolutionary, I think.
And privacy is the largest driver, like security and privacy, it appears would be the largest driver. Well, I mean, like would be the largest driver for anyone considering getting into this kind of technology or pushing their business in this kind of way. Security.
I don't know if it would be the largest. I'm not sure. Like, I definitely didn't survey dealers about what would they view as the big wins of using a technology like this. I think a lot of them would say, well, I can have a marketplace for free. Like, I can have, like whatever companies are still collecting 500 to 5,000 a month for the website, never mind access to the marketplace. So if website providers are charging such a large amount of money for what's effectively an e-commerce store, then this new e-commerce store that's free would be better. Privacy would be a side benefit or a secondary benefit. But to the extent that we don't have laws in Canada like GDPR, where, a privacy violation, I mean, we've got, is it not Castle, it would be Pipeda, but.
Or FinTrack.
Yeah, like you don't hear about huge fines being levied against dealerships for shitty custody of consumers' data. Maybe you should. Like when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, I remember there being an issue with like a national news coverage where they went to a branch manager and said, hey, we went through your dumpster and there's like chink credit card slips there that haven't been shredded, and like they pulled out one that was in the branch manager's name. It was like her credit card imprint that they found. So like there are big leaks all the time of data. I'm not hearing a ton about the fines related, and it seems like it's either because the fine amount is so small relative to the profit made that it's just not an issue, or that there's just like people are so used to giving up the privacy they don't even care to make a stink about it. So I don't know whether the privacy is a big deal. I just see it as the opportunity again to, like, the amount of money that the data companies make is not an insignificant sum, and that by reshaping the flow of that data, there's some opportunity there. And the folks that invested in this protocol, OB1, or Andreessen Horowitz investing in OB1, they didn't have a path to monetization. It's like, well, if you're offering the service for free and you're developing the protocol that anyone can use for free, and you don't have this data stream, how are you going to make any money with it? And they just sort of viewed that would work itself out in the future. But, like Shopify does, for $30 a month, you can get access to new features and support and help along the way and that type of thing. That was, like, I think in my paper as well, the conclusion that a company set up around offering the service to dealers would make its money on retainer and consulting fees and agency related work. Like, well, you'll want your your Open Bazaar store to be branded the way that your OEM wants, and you want it to look like your existing website and these types of things. So yeah, I think it's a cost savings type of drive, and the realization that it could benefit the consumer to help differentiate your brand. But the privacy element, I don't know how much demand there is for it when we seem so readily willing to give it all up.
Yeah, and you make a good point, because any data breach that you see happen with any large business is generally a slap in the wrist kind of fine. I don't know if you remember the Auto-Trader car guru's photo. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So like that data breach went to court and everything, and it ended up being that car gurus had to pay Auto-Trader like 2 cents a photo. I don't know. It was something just like so ridiculously cheap that you're just like, is that really going to prevent them from doing business? It did for a little while, but I think that there's just no one cares, almost like you said.
Yeah, it's that only the people who care, and there's not as many of them as you'd think. So yeah, it's interesting, and I mean, I think it's helped me understand the automotive landscape a lot better than it did as just a salesperson who was interested in tech. And so like, even if the thesis yields no marketable outcome, like I learned a lot, and that's the point of that's the point of an education. And I think if people are interested, and again still listening, about Bitcoin, like the difference between investing $500 in Bitcoin and investing $20,000 in an education in the future of banking, finance, money, it's a different kind of trade-off, and that the education is potentially more important than the cash investment. So don't be shy to find something you're passionate about and learn a lot about it, whether that's Bitcoin or something else.
Look at you dropping bombs.
I don't know.
It's good. What an inspiration, Tim.
Are you pumped up now?
Well, I'm curious. I mean, I gotta download some podcasts, and I'll have to take the dog for a walk. I have a call at noon and then another one at 1, and then
It'll be like those two calls will be like the Etch-a-Sketch, where like, look at this beautiful drawing I made for you, Logan, and then just shape it with these 2 other calls.
That's good. I appreciate your time. I need to get the Innovator's Dilemma. That has been recommended. I've heard it recommended a few times, so it's definitely a well-known book, I think, for the knowledge in it and the information. So I should get that and read that, because I think I would enjoy it. But I need a bookshelf first. All my books are still in boxes. I don't have them out yet.
Digital. It's all digital.
See, I'm an old lady. Cash money and real books, bookshelves, pens and notes.
Good.
Yeah. So, and I have a mask. This is the world we live in.
Great.
All right. Well, Tim, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.